Picture this, a courtroom drama unfolding, not in a movie, but right now, where every new day brings another jaw-dropping twist. The trial involving Diddy is like a gripping story that just keeps getting stranger. With secrets spilling out and people involved mysteriously changing roles, it's a huge spectacle, a real-life mystery that has everyone talking. Not just about the evidence, but about the very people who are supposed to decide what's true. Shocking videos are finally being shown, and there's a big, puzzling reason why some people picked for the jury are simply disappearing. This isn't just about the law. It's a high-stakes play where careers, freedoms, and even the future of someone famous hang in the balance. Every move made in this trial seems to lead to more questions, pulling us deeper into a strange and unexpected tale. One of the biggest mysteries making waves is how the jury itself seems to be shrinking. It's truly odd to see, in such an important court case, people chosen to listen and decide are suddenly gone. This isn't a small thing. It shows that something unsettling is going on behind the scenes, causing big problems for both sides of the case. The most recent person to leave was juror number 6. One day, he was there, listening carefully. The next, he was officially dismissed. But his exit was far from simple. There are whispers and serious claims that his departure was not just a routine change. It caused a sudden, big shakeup, making many wonder if there was a hidden reason for his removal. His sudden absence truly stirred things up, leaving a lot of unanswered questions hanging in the air. The real story behind juror number 6's quick exit is far more tangled than a simple mistake, and it kicked off a storm of rumors right away. It all began when the lawyers trying the case brought up a big issue. This person had told people he lived in New Jersey. The problem, when he was picked for the jury, he told the court he lived in the Bronx, New York. If he truly lived in New Jersey, he wouldn't even be allowed to serve on a jury for a New York case. This wasn't a little slip-up. It was a clear sign he hadn't been honest. The lawyers for the state pushed hard on this point to the judge, saying that if he lied about something so basic, he couldn't be trusted to decide such a serious matter. And that's what the judge decided, saying the juror hadn't been honest and had too many things that didn't add up about where he actually lived. Just like that, juror number 6 was out, and another person stepped in to take his spot. But this is where the story gets really wild, turning into something like a whispered secret. Talk quickly spread that Diddy's legal team fought hard to keep him. Why? People said he was a Hispanic man who loved 90s hip-hop, and Diddy's team reportedly believed he wasn't convinced by the arguments from the state's lawyers. Put simply, they thought he might side with Diddy. This led to serious talk. Did the state's lawyers dig into his past and use the address lie as a way to get rid of someone who might favor Diddy? Was this a planned move to change who was on the jury and shift the way the trial would go? It paints a picture of a courtroom where every action is a play in a big game, and the stakes are incredibly high. The very idea that a juror might be removed for reasons other than honesty, and that it might involve who they might favor, truly makes you wonder about the bigger picture of this trial. It leaves a lingering feeling of unease about what else might be happening behind the closed doors of the court. Just when everyone was trying to piece together the strange disappearance of juror number 6, another surprising piece of news hit. A second person on the jury is now facing a similar fate. They're waiting to hear if they'll be dismissed, all because of a strange message received on their phone. This person went to the court, looking worried, and told the judge about a text they got from a number they didn't know. The message was eerily direct, asking, "Are you juror number 6? Stop and think about that for a second. Someone, somewhere, had this juror's phone number and knew enough about the trial to ask if they were the very person who had just been removed. The juror said they didn't know the number, but the message itself was deeply troubling. The judge, with lawyers from both sides present, asked many questions, trying to get to the bottom of it. What came out was even more alarming. The judge grew worried that this person on the jury had been talking about the case, or about being on the jury with people outside the court. Reports suggest there's strong proof that the text came from someone this juror actually knew, someone who was reportedly discussing the trial with them. If that's true, it points to a serious break in the rules, a crack in the unseen wall of fairness that's supposed to protect the jury's work. This raises big questions. Is someone trying to get to the people on the jury? Are these people unable to follow the strict rules about not talking about the case? And what does this mean for the honesty of the entire trial, which is already under intense watch? The boundaries of the courtroom seem to be blurring, with the outside world pushing its way in, making an already tricky case even harder to predict. The thought of communication from outside the court reaching the people deciding the case is a truly concerning development. It suggests a deeper struggle to keep the proceedings fair and untainted by outside influences. The strange happenings with the jury didn't completely shock those following the trial, especially given how the judge has been managing things. For high-profile cases, it's not unusual for juries to not be sequestered, meaning they go home each night rather than staying together in a hotel. Everyone knows the rules. People on the jury are not supposed to talk about the case with anyone outside the court, not even with each other, until it's time to make a decision. But here's the telling part. The judge took the unusual step of putting a gag order on all the lawyers involved, both those for the state and for Diddy. This means they are not allowed to talk publicly about the case. If the judge truly believed that the people on the jury would follow the rules and not look at social media or watch TV, there would be no need for such an order. The gag order strongly suggests the judge knows jurors might bend or break the rules, and he's trying to shield the trial from outside noise. It's a surprising admission when you think about it, hinting at the difficulties of keeping a jury completely isolated in such a public case, and the dramatic actions inside the court don't stop there. Even Diddy himself received a sharp warning from the judge for his own risky behavior. There was one day, earlier in the trial, when the judge actually said he might kick Diddy out of his own hearing. Why? Because Diddy was seen looking straight at the jury and nodding his head, agreeing with his defense lawyer as they worked to question a witness's credibility. It was a classic move, playing directly to the people who will decide, much like the famous moment when O.J. Simpson tried on a glove and showed the jury it didn't fit. Diddy, with his subtle nods, was trying to silently tell the jury he agreed, perhaps trying to shape their thoughts without saying a word, while no one knows for sure which specific juror he was looking at, or if it was juror number 6. These kinds of quiet actions are what lawyers watch for to guess which way a juror might be leaning. It adds another layer of intrigue to the already wild trial, showing how much every single person in that room, from the lawyers to Diddy himself, is trying to sway the outcome, sometimes in ways that push the very limits of what's allowed. Such moments create a fascinating, if troubling, picture of the psychological battles playing out alongside the legal ones. After weeks of guesses and intense waiting, the moment everyone anticipated finally arrived. The jury was shown parts of the infamous freakoff videos. This wasn't something for the public to see. It was a strictly controlled, almost hidden event. The people on the jury watched these clips on private screens, each wearing headphones, so no one else in the open courtroom, not even the lawyers, could see or hear what was playing. The details are not clear, but reports from inside the courtroom say the jury saw about 30 seconds of several different videos. These videos were reportedly found on Diddy's computer drives and other items, including some that Cassie herself provided from her own devices. The feeling in the courtroom during this viewing was described as incredibly tight, yet the jury remained famously calm and showed no emotion. Our producer inside the courtroom noted that while many of the male jurors watched with strong focus, there were no sounds of surprise, no shocked looks, and nothing that seemed odd or unsettling. This jury has been incredibly tough to read throughout the entire trial, keeping a blank expression that gives no hint as to what they're thinking or feeling. This makes it impossible to guess who gained an advantage from the videos being shown. Was it a good thing for the state's lawyers, or did it perhaps work against them? The strange lack of a visible reaction means the true impact of these shocking videos remains a huge question, hidden behind the quiet faces of the very people who will decide Diddy's future. Their stoicism only deepens the mystery of how these pivotal pieces of evidence will factor into their final decision. The showing of the freakoff videos isn't just about trying to cause a stir. It gets right to the main point of the state's argument against Diddy. The most important question for the jury to answer when watching these videos is about Cassie's part. Was she a willing participant, or was she forced? This is where Diddy's team and the state's lawyers strongly disagree. Diddy's team, as expected, is saying that Cassie was completely into it, that she took part in these activities by her own choice. But the state's lawyers have a very different, far more upsetting story. They claim that Cassie faced great pressure and was coerced by Diddy behind the scenes. When Cassie herself spoke earlier, she directly talked about these videos, knowing they would eventually be shown. She told the court that while she did take part, she did so because she was pressured, and because Diddy was threatening her. She painted a picture of a life where she was used, where her part was simply to be brought out for freakoffs, and that Diddy never truly helped her music career. This testimony is very important because it connects directly to accusations that Diddy was trafficking her, meaning he was using her for these activities against her will. The videos, along with Cassie's own words, could be seen as proof that she was a victim, not someone who chose to participate freely. If the jury believes Cassie's story, these videos could be strong evidence for human trafficking, or even racketeering if she was extorted into these situations. It's a very serious accusation, and the jury now has to decide which story the graphic images support. This isn't just about what they saw, but about what they understood was truly happening behind the scenes. The videos are not just surprising, they are at the center of the entire case, holding the chance to either find Diddy guilty or support his defense. Their interpretation of these crucial pieces of evidence will shape the entire verdict. Now, let's look at a surprising move in the state's strategy. The timing of when they chose to show these freakoff videos. Many people, including those who study legal cases, thought the state's lawyers would show these raw videos right at the start of the trial. They expected it would be used to immediately set a shocking tone and grab the jury's interest. But instead, they waited. They held off until the very end of their case, almost as their final, powerful blow. Just days after the trial started, the state did show the jury still pictures from some of the freakoffs, which hinted at what was coming. But they kept the moving video clips hidden until now. This delay was a very careful and strong choice, creating a huge moment of drama, which is a big part of presenting any case in court. By waiting, the state's lawyers allowed all the other testimonies, all the other accusations and pieces of proof to build up in the jurors' minds. Think about it. For weeks, the jurors heard stories, listened to people speaking, and looked at papers. They were even told during the jury selection process that they would see graphic sexual content. The excitement and anticipation grew and grew, and then, finally, at the very end, after hearing all the surrounding details, the raw, unfiltered videos were shown. This timing makes the reveal much more impactful, allowing the stories told before to cast a heavy shadow over what the jurors are seeing, possibly making the state's claims of force and exploitation seem stronger. It's a planned move meant to deliver the biggest emotional and legal hit, hoping to leave a lasting impression on the jury just before they begin their discussions. The dramatic timing aimed to ensure the impact of the videos was amplified by the weight of all prior testimony. Even with all the shocking proof and dramatic stories, the final result of this trial remains completely unclear, mostly because of the jury itself. It's incredibly tough to guess what these 12 people are thinking. They've remained so calm and showed no emotion that it's impossible to tell who they believe or what they're leaning towards. Even if there had been a gasp from the jury when the video was shown, we still wouldn't know why they gasped. Was it surprise, disgust, or something else entirely? That kind of uncertainty can be worse than no reaction at all. This trial isn't decided by what people think online or what's said in public. It's decided by these 12 people, locked in a room, trying to follow the proof and the rules. While it sounds almost too perfect to be true, people on juries often truly try to do their job, putting aside their own thoughts and focusing on the facts shown in court. This means they won't necessarily have the same strong feelings or opinions that people outside the court might have. They're treating this as their serious work. The biggest challenge for the state's lawyers now is getting a unanimous decision, meaning all 12 people on the jury must agree that Diddy is guilty. If even just one juror disagrees, it leads to a hung jury, meaning no decision can be reached, and a hung jury is a huge win for Diddy's defense. If that happens, the state's lawyers would have to decide whether to try the case all over again. But Diddy's legal team would already know every move the state made the first time, giving them a big edge. So, every single juror's thought matters, and with some already leaving or being watched closely, the path to a clear decision is harder than ever. The hidden thoughts of these 12 individuals hold the key to an outcome that could redefine the trial's future. As this extraordinary trial heads toward its most important moment, we are left with a mix of confusion, clever legal steps, and very personal stories. The Diddy trial has been anything but normal, constantly throwing out new surprises, from jurors disappearing in strange text messages to the long-awaited showing of powerful videos. Every twist has added a new layer to this complicated legal fight, showing how big the consequences truly are for everyone involved. The future of a famous music star, the search for fairness, and the truth about what happened away from public eyes now rests completely in the hands of a jury whose thoughts remain a complete puzzle. Will they find Diddy guilty, or will his legal team manage to create enough doubt? The courtroom has been a stage for secrets, and as the final parts of the story play out, the world watches, wondering if fairness will be achieved and what surprising things might still appear before the curtain finally closes. The real decision, in every way, is still out there, waiting to be revealed.